the maximum pressure campaign on Iran continues. But as you know, the president has made it clear he wants to see dialogue and discussion with Iran while making his directive about Iran never being able to obtain a nuclear weapon quite clear.
So here we go, standing firm right now. The Trump team on nuclear talks with Iran, reiterating its demand that Tehran eliminate its nuclear program. There is action on this. I want to bring in retired General Jack Keane, Fox News senior strategic analyst. And General, thank you for your time. Good morning to you. There's been one meeting already. There's another one scheduled in the coming days in Rome, Italy. We'll see how that goes. On Tuesday, Axios reports that the White House had a Situation Room meeting on the fate of Iran. In that room, Vance, Rubio, Hegseth, Witkoff, Ratcliffe, Waltz, all the players, including the president. Now, the president has said he can solve this through diplomacy without taking military action off the table. Where does Trump 2.0 now stand with Iran and the possibility of going nuclear?
Yeah, I don't think the president's policy has changed one iota. I mean, I even had a conversation with him about it just prior to the inauguration, and he was unequivocally clear. And he has been very clear on this issue like he is on a lot. His policy is simple. Iran is not going to have a nuclear weapon. And he has put together a negotiator, the personal envoy to the Middle East, to be the implementer of that. And he has issued an ultimatum to back that envoy up. The ultimatum is pretty simple. Iran, you voluntarily dismantle your program, eliminate the enriched uranium, hand it over, destroy the centrifuges that are deeply buried in those secret facilities, and destroy the intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ballistic missiles, excuse me, that could deliver them. And what President Trump has said, if you don't voluntarily dismantle and eliminate the program, then we, meaning Israel and the United States, will destroy the program. That's pretty simple. And this got off message somehow, I think, as a result of the first talks and subsequent interviews on television. I think yesterday's meeting was to get input, but also, most importantly, get clarity. And it seems to me, when the negotiators go before the Iranians this weekend, it's about implementing the president's policy. And that is more, show us your plan to eliminate voluntarily your nuclear enterprise, and show us the milestones to do that, show us the sites that this is going to take place at, and we reserve the right to go anywhere, anytime, to conduct inspections, because we know full well the Iranians would retreat. It seems to me the meeting is more about getting an implementation plan than it is negotiating some terms about how much of this or how much of that. And I think that's how it got off message. And recall this, in 2019 in Hanoi, when the Trump team went in to negotiate with Kim Jong-un, and they were expecting to see an implementation plan to dismantle his nuclear weapons, and he didn't provide that, they got up and left.
That's right.
And yeah. I think that's where we are.
General, on the Middle East, there is movement here on a ceasefire that's really not been joined by the other side. Hamas is rejecting that. Here's a statement from the Israeli defense minister. Israel's policy is clear. He says no humanitarian aid is set to enter Gaza. A mechanism must be built for the use of civilian companies as a tool that will also prevent Hamas from accessing this issue going forward. Israel believes there are 59 hostages, of which 24 are still alive, including Edon Alexander, an American Israeli. And then, well, I guess two things happened. There was a proof of life video given of him recently. And then Hamas came out a few days later claiming it lost contact with those who were keeping Edon hostage. You wonder if anyone's going to come out alive, General.
Well, certainly we're all hoping and praying for that. But the reality is that Israel has put on the table certainly the release of the hostage in exchange for prisoners. But they also have been very clear to Hamas that they don't want them to remain governing, and they also want them to disarm. And they are not going to discuss the after day of Hamas until those objectives are achieved. So Hamas is pushing back on that, because as we know full well, keeping those hostages is all about keeping Hamas alive and also in power. So we're at loggerheads here. I think more negotiations will take place. And listen, the pressure on Hamas is pretty significant now because new chief of the IDF military, and he is posing a different plan. He is occupying parts of 4 different parts of the Gaza Strip, and he's going to expand that occupation. And he's moving the civilian population out of those 4 areas so he can focus on destroying Hamas in those areas and taking away any hope that they can govern in that. And they are now referring to that as the security zone of the state of Israel. And that is very different than what the former chief of the IDF conducted, largely tactical raids, and then left the area. So this occupation is increasing over time, and there's considerably more pressure also on Hamas to release those hostages.
Yeah. Thank you, General. It's good to have you back on, and we'll watch both of them carefully. Important stuff. Jack Keane, thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.